Hey folks, it's Chad here with Airstream Greensboro Blue Compass Company, and I'm inside of a 2025 Tradewind 25 front bed twin bed model. I actually just posted a video about this one and did a kind of a quick walk on it. Very similar to the 2024 model year, so if you've seen any of my videos on that, this is going to be fairly similar to what's in those. Now the biggest difference on this one, if you watch the other video that I just posted on the 2025, there's more cargo carrying capacity on the 2025 model year. Now what I wanted to do, there's been a few times where I've had to answer questions on how to use the Victron energy system that's on the Tradewinds, and you know, basically over the phone kind of explaining things and when you might use this setting versus that setting. And I thought that it might be a good idea for me just to go ahead and make a video going over those things as far as where to set things, how to use it, why you might want to use it a certain way. And then when I get that question, I could just shoot this video. And then hopefully if you stumble upon this video, you'll find it helpful as well. And this is going to apply to other vehicles outside of Airstream that are also using the Victron energy system, like the Multiplus 2 3000 watt inverter, or even like the Quadra 2 inverter that we use when we do a generator install. So let me flip the camera around. I'm going to give you a little bit of an up close of the screen and talk through a few things with you. Okay, so we are on the main screen, or kind of home screen, which they actually call pages. That's going to show you a few things. There's one thing missing from here, and I'm going to show you how to add that, and that is the DC to DC output. So you want to go to settings and system settings, and then has DC system right here. Toggle that on, and then now that that's on, we can go back to pages and you'll see your DC power draw, which is very helpful to be able to see that. I'm not sure why Airstream doesn't set it up that way from the factory. They really should, but they don't. Now as far as what's on this screen, you're going to see what's coming in from the grid. So this is plugged in right now to 30 amps, and the battery's charged, so we're not really doing much there. And then the AC load side is the air conditioner. I do have that running. So you're going to see the red is going to be the grid, whatever's coming in from shore power. If you plug your generator into this, it's just going to show grid on that as well. Now, if you did a full install with a generator, kind of like what Mark did with KYD, that would actually say generator there when the generator is running. But that's when it's connected directly to the Victron system. That's going to be different if you're actually just plugged into your regular 30 amp cable outside with shore power. Now, the center is going to be what the inverter itself is doing. Right now it's in float, and that's mainly because the batteries are charged. And then the green is going to be your AC load, and that is labeled there, and that's just going to be whatever, alternating current, 110 power, 120 volt power is being used. In this case, the air conditioner and microwave is not, it's powered on, it's not running, but that is going to draw a little bit of power there. And then this right here where it says float, that's going to change depending on what option you have selected. Then down here, the blue box that looks like a battery, that is your battery, and you'll see this one's 100%. And then I talked about the DC power draw, that's right there. And then the yellow one is PV charger, so that's going to be solar. Now in this case, the battery is fully charged. There's really nowhere for that energy to go. And the way the system is set up is to go to the battery, so it's zero. Now that's something that you may see happen. If the batteries are full, it could be a sunny day out and you won't see any power being produced by the solar, and that's simply because solar needs somewhere to go. That energy has to go somewhere, and if there's nowhere for it to go, then you're not going to have any power or any production from your solar, is kind of what I'm saying. Now you could see that go up, but generally when the battery is full at 100%, that's going to be zero, and that's normal. Now if the battery was 80%, this would be charging, the solar would be charging at bulk as well, and it would be capturing as much sun as possible. Now, this is a 25-foot Tradewind, so it has 600 watts of solar. You're never going to see 600 watts of solar being produced because that's perfect conditions. That's the, each panel's capability of producing 100 watts is in perfect condition. So it's always going to be less than 600. I would suspect best case maybe somewhere around 500 watts or less. You guys that have Tradewinds, you can put in the comments, and in the comment what your the highest production you've been able to get. Now if you swipe to the left, you're going to see another screen that's very similar to the same pages. It's giving you the same information, it's just in a different setup. So there's your DC system, there's your solar charger, which is currently 0, your AC loads, and your AC input, battery state of charge, what the inverter is doing, which is float right now, and then just the time. And we can swipe back to the left and see that screen again. Now, the part I really want to talk about today is going to be when we go into the menu, you see your 3 main devices that makes up the Victron smart system, or Victron energy system. The first is going to be your blue solar charger, the MPPT charge controller. The next thing down is going to be the Multi-Plus 2, that is the inverter itself. And then the next thing down is going to be your smart shunt, and that is what is watching the battery and seeing what's happening with the battery and how we get that state of charge of 100%. Now, when you go into Multi-Plus, this is where the switch, if you will, and that is what they call it, is going to be. Everything else in this page, you're not going to change. This is all set, and it's going to stay exactly how it is. You can go through and see things like if you want to see what the AC L1, so leg 1 in is and then out is, that's just showing you what the AC input is and the AC output is on the Multi-Plus. The only thing you're going to change is the switch. So let me tap that. So we're going to have 4 options here. The first option there, as you can see, is off. The one that is selected currently is charge only. The next one down is going to be inverter only, and then on. So let me explain to you what these 4 options are, what they do, and why you might use them. So the first one's off. That just, it is what it is. It's off. Now, the unique thing about the system, your 110 volt or 120 volts that's coming through your household outlets, that is passing through the Multi-Plus 2. So if you don't have, let me flip this around. If you don't have power coming in, if you have that off, is what I'm trying to say. If that's marked off, it is literally off. There's no power coming through the system. You're not going to have any AC power. So if you have that set to off and you come in, you hit your battery disconnect and you get 12 volt power, but the microwave's off and the AC won't turn on, there's a good chance that the Multi-Plus 2 is turned off. So off is literally off. And off is going to be, I think, a rare one to use. You may use it when, say you're going to store it for a little bit, so you might put it in the off mode for that reason. But that's what off is. So let me flip back around. So the next one is going to be charge only. So charge only, where I'm sitting right now, is a great scenario for this. So I've got this Tradewind sitting on the sold line, and this one, the customer is coming this week to pick it up, and it's plugged in. Now, the thing about this particular sold line is it's also a demo line, so it's where we do a lot of our demos, especially if it's a nice day out. At any given point, someone could come over, unplug this from the power, the shore power, and plug it into, plug in another unit that they need to have plugged in. Now, if I've got it set to on, what's going to happen if the air conditioner is running as it is right now, it's just going to keep running because the Multi-Plus 2 is going to kick in, start inverting AC power and start inverting DC power and start making AC power, and just start running the AC. And that will run that air conditioner until the point that there's no battery left. But by having it in the charge only mode, if you unplug the power outside, the air conditioner is just going to turn off. Because the inverter is being told right now, the only thing I want you to do, if you have shore power, if you have power coming off the pole, is charge the battery. That's all I want you to do. If for some reason it gets unplugged, or there's a power outage, or the breaker to that box is clipped, or whatever you call that, then I don't want you to do anything. I don't want you to try to power the air conditioner. I don't want you to power the microwave. I want you to turn off. That's what charge only is going to do, and it's a great one to use if you've got it plugged in just to keep the batteries topped off, but you don't necessarily want the air conditioner to keep running. You don't want the microwave to keep running, because in that case it may run the batteries down when the inverter kicks on. Now the next option is going to be inverter. So that one, oh, let me bring that down a little bit. So the next one down is going to be inverter. So inverter is the opposite of charge only. When you have that one selected, the charge only function is turned off, and the inverter function of the Multi-Plus 2 is the only thing that's capable of running. Now the next one down is going to be on, and that is just literally it's on. You're telling the Multi-Plus that if it needs to be an inverter, it can be an inverter. If it needs to be a charger, it can be a charger. Now, scenarios for why you may use one over the other. On the inverter side, say I'm plugged in to a 10 amp outlet or household 15 amp circuit. Now I can turn my disconnect down here. I can turn my charge input selector to 10 amps, and I'm only going to let 10 amps come in. But I still want to use everything. So say I'm at a Harvest Host, I still want to run the air conditioner, and I want everything to be able to run, but I don't necessarily want to charge the battery. I just need that 10 amps to assist the Multi-Plus in its energy generation. So if you flip that to inverter and inverter only, and you're plugged into 15 amp circuit, the inverter is going to pull 10 amps off the pole, because that's what we've told it to do. We've set it to 10 amps, and it's going to replace the other part, whatever else is needed, with battery power, and it will use the inverter to do that. But it's not going to try to charge the battery. It's only going to use power coming off the pole to run the camper, and then it's only going to use what it needs to out of the batteries. Now that's not something that I would necessarily do. In that case, I would probably put it to on, and then I would probably turn that switch back down to 10 amps. Then that way, if the AC compressor turns off and I can put a couple amps of power into the battery, then I want to get that I want to be able to charge the battery a little bit when the air conditioner is not running. So I would probably do the on setting for that one, so that we're getting power coming through. The inverter is in an assist mode, so it's assisting the lower input that you've got coming in. And then if it doesn't need that power off the grid, then you're going to get 10 amps going into your battery for charge. That's probably how I would do that. I really feel like the inverter only on this one is not something you're going to use a lot. The ones that you're going to use mostly is going to be charge only and then on. Another time that you might use charge only is when you're traveling. So say you've packed everything, you're about to go on a holiday, and you're getting ready to head down the road. I would flip this to charge only. That way, while you're driving down the road, the microwave is not sitting there with power, and the air conditioner doesn't have the capability of turning on. You don't need any of that. So the inverter isn't using any power, or using more power just to be sitting there functioning as an inverter. If you set it to charge only, the system will stay on, so you're not going to lose power. The system's not going to turn off, but the inverter also isn't going to be on, because the only function that the Multi-Plus is allowed to do is to be charge only. And then the other one, as I mentioned already a little bit, is going to be on, and that one is literally just telling the inverter, you do whatever you need to do to manage the system. So if you need to charge. If you need to invert, then be an inverter. If you need to assist, because we've got the 10 amp circuit turned on, the switch on, so that only 10 amps is coming into the camper, and we're going to replace the other 20 amps if we need it with battery power, then do the assist function. On is just going to do whatever it needs to do to give you 30 amps of power coming off of the inverter, whether it's a mix of two, the battery and the shore power, or it's all battery, or it's all shore power. Whatever it needs to do, it's going to do it. And if the batteries need to be charged, it's going to charge the batteries up until it gets to 100%, and then it will go into a float stage. And then again, off is off. The two I think you're going to use the most is going to be charge only, and then on. And remember, charge only means that the inverter is turned off, so the only thing that the Multi-Plus can do is charge the batteries. On is going to be both of these are turned on, and the Multi-Plus is capable of using both of these in combination, or whatever it needs to function. And then inverter only means that the charger is turned off, and it's only going to be able to invert DC power to AC power, but it's not going to charge the batteries when it's doing that. And then off is off. Off literally means that you have disconnected the AC, the shore power coming in, the grid power, everything is disconnected. You have no AC power coming in. Now that doesn't mean that the, go back to pages here. That doesn't mean that you lose 12 volt power. That is a different system. There's a 12 volt, there's a circuit that goes into the 12 volt distribution system that is not part of the AC power, if that makes sense. Not part of the grid power. So the batteries are going to produce 12 volt power even if the Victron energy system is in the off mode. You can still turn that battery disconnect on and you can still get 12 volt power. You're just not going to get anything coming from the grid. You're not going to be able to turn the air conditioner on. You're not going to be able to turn the microwave on. All of that is going to not function when it's in the off, when you've got the switch to off. So again, I think the two that you're going to probably use the most is going to be charge only or on. And then when you're driving down the road, charge only. If you're just storing it and you just need the batteries to be charged, but you don't want the inverter to kick on and potentially run the batteries down, then the charge only mode would be the mode to use there. And then of course you can use off when you're storing it. If you have any questions on the Victron energy system, I am not an expert, but if I can answer the question, I will do my best to do that. And if you're interested in a Tradewind or any other Airstream on the market, remember I am a salesperson here at Airstream in Greensboro, and I would be happy to take care of you and help you find the perfect Airstream for you and your family. Hope you guys are living riveted. Hope you have a great day. We'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.